Revision is something that 99% of students my age hate, and for good reason, because the traditional methods everyone uses are ineffective and don't work. But at the end of the day, it's something we've got to do to get those grade 9s or whatever your target grade is. And to be honest, I, like most students, would just leave my revision to last minute and cram before and get really stressed, and to be honest, cramming just doesn't work. But recently I figured something out and it's revolutionised my life. So in today's video guys, I'm going to teach you how to revise less but remember more. Organise and plan your revision so you don't feel trapped or overwhelmed, and the new and best proven ways to do your revision. And guys, this video took a lot of research and planning and time to make, so I would appreciate it if you watched right till the end. If you apply and take action on what I say, you will get those top grades. Before this video starts guys, I want to give a quick shout out to Curve Card. If you don't know what Curve Card is, well, this is Curve Card. I've made a video about it, but if you haven't already, go and click the link in the description. It's really good, and if you sign up using the link down below, you're actually getting yourself a free $5 and supporting my channel, helping me make more videos like this. So the first part to revision is your mindset. If you don't have a good mindset, you're not going to be able to revise. So think about your GCSEs and exams like this. They're only temporary. In a few years you can forget about them, but if you don't put in the effort now, in a few years you'll regret that you didn't put in a bit more work. Now GCSEs aren't everything, but at the end of the day you have to do them, so you may as well do well. I mean, you spent 12 years of your school life preparing for them, so you may as well give them all you've got. Now I'm not saying everyone should get a 9, because that's just not possible, but as long as you've tried your hardest, that's all that matters. On exams day, you don't want to look at your results and think, oh no, I could have done better if I'd structured my revision better or tried a bit harder. As long as you've tried your best and prepared for your exams, you don't need to feel stressed or nervous about them, because you can only do as well as you can do. And if you get ahead as early as possible, you're saving yourself a lot of stress, which I know a lot of year 11s are feeling at the moment. So the next step is getting ready. So the first thing you need to do to get ready for your GCSEs is go out to somewhere like Home Bargains or WH Smith and buy yourself a folder for each GCSE you do, so you can store all your revision and papers and everything like that. So the next thing you need to do is invest in some decent revision guides. But watch out, because most revision guides are okay, but often the popular cheap ones that the schools try to sell you, like CGP, don't actually cover the whole course in enough detail and teach you how that content relates to the exam. They're fine, but there are better ones out there. I would actually recommend getting revision guides made by people who have taught the subjects and know how the content actually relates to the exam and how to get high marks in the exam. For example, in English, I actually wouldn't recommend getting the CGP books. I'd get the ones, you can get them on Amazon, I'll leave a link below. I'd get ones by this teacher called Mr. Salas. His revision guides are simply awesome. I also love his videos, but his revision guides are proven to get people more 9s and better grades than CGP books do. He really explains how to get the best marks in the exam by structuring your answers, and yeah, it's just brilliant. For science, I think the best ones to buy are Oxford Revise, and they're also made by people who teach the subject and know what the exams want. So if you want to know all the best revision guides, I'll leave a link in the description to every single revision guide that I think is the best for you to get, and there'll be Amazon links so you can literally buy them, get them tomorrow with Prime. But yeah, it's definitely worth investing in an actual good revision guide. Now, once you have your guide, once you've got your revision guide, there's normally a code on the inside which you can type in to the website, and then you can access it on your phone and computer, which is really useful if you're going out and about or want to revise from your computer and make notes on your computer. So definitely put it on there. Textbooks aren't the best way to revise, but they're important because they have all the revisions summed up and you can always go back to them. So part 3 to learning how to boost your revision is ways to revise. Reading and highlighting does not work. If you do that, you'll literally just forget it and it's just a big waste of time. You need revision techniques that actually make you remember what you're learning in a short amount of time. For example, watching YouTube videos are a brilliant way to revise. You can learn more in a 10-minute YouTube video than you can in a whole lesson at school. YouTubers that I personally watch and recommend are Mr. Salas Teaches English, Mr. Kirby, Free Science Lessons, Maths Genie, Primrose Kitten, Mr. Bruff, and Mr. Gale, and I'll leave links for them down below. These teachers are great for content, but also how to structure your answers. With GCSEs, you may know the content, but you're still going to do very badly if you don't know how to structure your answers, because at the end of the day, that's what they're looking for. So the best proven way to remember what you revised is by putting your notes into a new form. I'd recommend using your workbooks, your revision books, and I would recommend using YouTube videos, workbooks, revision books, and put those notes into flashcards, and flashcards are a new form. Now, I never actually make physical flashcards. I use a website called Quizlet, and Quizlet is brilliant because it allows you to make them, but also look up sets that people have already made. So if you're doing maybe RE, you can look up Islam beliefs and have a whole 60 words that you need to learn for Islam right there. And when you're, say, reading your revision guide, make sure you put a flashcard for every single bit of content that comes up. Then once you've made the flashcards, when you're out and about or doing revision, you can go through them and test yourself. The first time you might only remember a few, but if you keep on building and building that up, it will become quick fire, you know all the content, and then you've got the content covered for GCSE, and you can start working on your exam structure. So once you've made your set of flashcards, you can go through them on your phone, and the first time you might get a few right, and then the next time you get some more, and then more, and it just builds over time, and then you learn the content. But that's not it. Once you've learned all that stuff, you need to convert that knowledge into past papers and learn how to answer them, and then mark them yourself to see where you've gone wrong, what you could have done better, so you actually understand the mark scheme. And then if you want, you can even give your mark paper to your teacher at school to check you're doing the marking properly, and they can give you pointers. Another revision app that's very popular at the moment and a lot of teachers are starting to promote is one called Seneca. Seneca is good, but the only problem I have with it is that they kind of don't cover the courses in enough detail. For example, I went through the history one and they're missing so many bits out. But Seneca is good if you're at the bus stop or on a train and want to quickly do a bit of revision. It's good for that, but don't just use Seneca because it doesn't have enough detail. So the next part of mastering your revision is timing. Now this is the most important part of the video because if you get your timing right, you've got your GCSEs down. A common misconception is that you have to do hours every night of revision to learn it, and that's just not true. If you learn something, say in class, and then never revise it again, you forget at a very quick rate. But every time you revise something, you forget at a slower rate. If you say, go over that information a day or 2 or 3 after you've learnt it, you forget at a much slower rate. So if you revise maybe a few days after you first learnt it, you'll forget that stuff a lot more slowly. So I recommend you learn what you need to revise, you go over it maybe a day or 2 later, then a week, then 3 weeks, then a month, and then you can even wait 2 months and you'll still remember, and each time you revise it, you don't have to spend as long because you remember what you're revising. Now there's a brilliant video explaining this method by Mr. Salas, and I'll leave that down below. It's definitely worth watching. It will revolutionize your revision. It shows that you don't actually have to revise that much to remember what you're learning. And when you revise it in small chunks where you hyper-focus and really apply yourself. It goes without saying, but if you need to, get rid of your phone just for a little bit and then really settle down and focus on your revision. You could revise for 2 hours and just not be very focused, have your phone next to you, occasionally check it, and not remember too much, but you could revise for half an hour, really going for it, and you could remember a lot more. So it's all about how you use your time, guys. If you need to learn flashcards or learn vocab for a language, for example, I'm trying to learn Spanish, I'd recommend every day setting yourself a goal to learn maybe 5 words. When you think about it, that's 25 words a week, 100 words a month. That just builds up, and eventually you'll learn all the words you need to know. Because think about it, you'll get to your exams and realize, oh no, there's a massive glossary that I haven't learned. Oh, what am I going to do? And you won't be able to remember all those words. And maybe to save time, learn those words when you're traveling to school in the car or on the bus or on the train. Just utilize that sort of time where you're not doing much and you could spend it wisely. And over time that'll become like a regular thing and a habit, and you'll just every day pumping out more words, and it'll get easier and easier. At the start you might find it takes maybe 20 minutes to learn 5 words, but then each time you'll get slightly quicker and better at learning. It's all practice. A really good thing to do is plan out in the week when you're going to revise, like making a revision timetable. So I'd recommend If you want to be smart, maybe doing at least 45 minutes per subject you do every week. A key tip is to overestimate the amount of time you do your revision, so then you're mitigating the risk of running out of time. But the main thing to remember, guys, start now so you don't have to panic. My final piece of advice, guys, is just relax. At the end of the day, it's just some exams. If you're stressed, then you won't be able to properly revise, you won't be able to do your papers very well because you'll be stressing all the time. If you can get yourself relaxed, structure your revision right, it'll be alright.
It's like I always did it. I've been rapping for free, but man, I hope they hear it. And when they challenging me, I never need to fear it. Ain't got nobody on me, no beef when I'm near it. Trying to make it, I see a bunch of youths sad gone, trying to fake it. I see a bunch of people in the world, they trying to take it, but then I woke up, broke up, time to embrace it. I see the world free, coming to life again, seeing Kanye